Good evening, Roosevelt families. Welcome back to school night. Sorry we can't be in person, but for obvious reasons. My name is Ms. Buntichai. I'm your child's math teacher, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what your child and you are to expect during this year back in school. So I'm going to start with a little bit of a tour of my classroom so you get to see. Usually in person, you would be able to see what we experience, or what your child will experience. These are whiteboard tables that they can write on and figure out their math. We've got a TV that I project the lesson on, and lots of resources around the room. Students will always have access to the agenda for the day. I write it daily, and they can see what their homework is. Right now, their homework is to prepare for the milestone task, which will be at the end of this week on Thursday or Friday. Okay, so students always have access to what we're about to do today. All right, let's get to understanding what my expectations are. All right. So I teach 8th grade math and math acceleration. I'll talk a little bit about what each of those things are. Fun facts about me. I was born and raised in Georgia. This is my second career. My first career was in graphic design. I went to Georgia State University. Go Panthers. My hobbies, I love to rock climb, play guitar and piano, traveling, and my family. All right, 8th grade this year will focus on these critical areas. Okay, so the critical areas are solving linear equations and systems of linear equations. Linear equations means lines, straight lines. So we'll be talking a lot about slope and growth of, if there is a growth of a line. And systems of linear equations means more than one line. So we'll be looking at how graphs intersect with each other or don't intersect. We'll also be talking about functions to describe quantitative relationships. When we say quantitative relationships, I mean the relationship between two quantities. For example, distance to time or money to time. We'll also be analyzing 2- and 3-dimensional spaces. So surface area, volume, things like that, geometry. A big unit in 8th grade is also understanding and applying the Pythagorean theorem, which, if you have forgotten, the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and only works for right triangles where C is the longest side, the hypotenuse. And then towards the end of the year, we'll be talking about bivariate data. Similar to understanding quantitative relationships, bivariate data talks about relationships between two variables. And that's more along the lines of statistics. So that's, in a nutshell, what 8th grade will be about. For students who are in my math acceleration class, this class is to provide some time to preview math that will be introduced in your students' or your child's regular math class. We'll also be focusing on how to develop math practices and habits of mind, how to persevere through problem solving and not give up. We'll be focusing a lot on developing fluency in numeracy. We develop strategies for tackling and solving problems. and figuring out ways to access a problem. A lot of the class is also about discussion and talking, using academic language to describe things and explain. All right. In all of my classes, I focus a lot on how students participate, because if you're not participating in the classwork and the group work, then there is less learning going on. So these are my 5 participation norms: getting a quick start, sticking together, using the middle space. So if they're working on a project or an activity, all the materials are in the middle where everyone can have access to them. Justifying with because statements, and pushing each other's thinking. So again, a lot of the math is about being able to explain yourself or ask clarifying questions and explain someone else's thinking. My grading policy. I only have 2 types of grades in the grade book, which will be in Synergy. You'll see assignments, which are daily in-class group assignments, and homework that I grade. This will be 50% of the weight of their entire grade. And then tests and quizzes are also 50%. So there are less tests and quizzes and more assignments. So the tests and quizzes actually end up weighing more because there's less of them. Okay. For assignments, specifically, again, the group assignments and homework, this is the rubric that I use to grade. A 10 is I went above and beyond, the student went above and beyond. A 9 is doing the work, following directions, but maybe didn't use complete sentences or didn't go above and beyond. An 8, I need to do more to complete the assignment. 7 or below, it's incomplete or didn't follow directions. You can resubmit, you can redo your work and resubmit it. A 5 means you didn't turn in the homework. Okay. Anything that is below a 7 can be resubmitted as a second chance. All right, moving on. Test rubric, very similar, except for because it's a test, a milestone, it's specific to the standards. So each question is specific to standards. I grade on a 0 to 4 scale. A 4 is thoroughly meeting standards. 3 meets standards. 2 approaches standards. 1 not yet approaching standards. And 0 means no attempt. That should say no attempt, not. Let me edit that right now. No attempt. Okay. And if you see on the second column here, I've kind of, just so that you understand what it's correlates to on a typical report card. 4 would be like an A, a 3 is a B, 2 is a C, and 1 is a D, and then 0 is an F. All right, student pages, also known as the workbook. Every student has a workbook. Let me show you. Looks like this. This is what they should be bringing to class every single day, taking home with them if they have homework. There's also a PDF version on sfusdmath.org. Hopefully you can see my screen right now. So I will put the link in my Q&A document, but if you just look at sfusdmath.org, you can go to students. It's kind of hard to navigate, but here, which is very, again, not user-friendly, there is a hyperlink where it says students can access student pages. If they click on that hyperlink, then they can go, you or they can go to middle school grade. So for 8th grade, it's here, opens up a portal. And for sake of ease, I would just go straight to student workbooks where it says here, student books, instead of going to each individual unit. If you go to the student books, you'll see the different versions for fall. There are also Spanish translations. So there's fall and spring. We're in fall right now. So it looks exactly like this book. There it is. All right. And then the pages correlate to the book. Okay, it's taking a bit longer. All right. Give me 1 second. All right, back to the slideshow. I think, is it not showing? Okay, here we are, back to the slideshow. Google Classroom. Google Classroom codes students have already accessed. If you are wanting to be invited as a guardian, you can send me your email address and I can add you as a guardian. This is what a typical Google Classroom for me looks like. Every week, I title each week with whatever week number it is. This week it's week 4, what unit we're on, and what block we are on. So for example, it's week 4, block B. Last week, they had assignments for week 3, block B and A. So that's how I organize the assignments, by week and by block. So Monday is all block A, and then there's block B on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and block C on Thursdays and Fridays. I was just looking at the schedule. Okay, and then the best way to reach me is through my email address, buntichaim@sfusd.edu. I'll also put that in the email that I send to you. And the question board is open from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. If you have questions or want to see what others are asking, please use my classroom question board. I'll also give you the link in my email, but it's tinyurl.com/2BVC8F8K. Please put your name in the first column, your question in the second column, and then I'll put my response in the third column. So you can go to that page and look at the questions and responses from me if you want to see what other parents are having questions about. And here's what the question board looks like. So again, you can put your name here. That's optional. Your question here. And I will respond here. Okay. that is all. I hope this was informative enough for you. If not, let me know if you have any questions through my email address. Again, that's here or on the question board. You can pause this video if you need to write that down. Thank you. Have a good evening.